Hey, y'all. Welcome. Hey, boss. Hey, how are you today? Doing my little dance. We are officially continuing our back to business encore week. I was about to say encore. Our encore week. Today, I've got somebody very, very special, Quanisha Green, the creator of Black Woman CEO. She's going to help you learn how to know and claim your worth. We're going to dig into some good as part of the back to business experience. Feel free to share this out. Sharing is caring. That's what it's all about. And you can also make sure that if you're catching us on the replay side, you drop into the comment box, #replays rock. So let's jump in. Let's see. Quanisha is in the virtual built-in with us today. Hello, my dear. Welcome.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always. Quanisha is an old G in the Power Circle community. So whenever I have back to business, she is one of the experts that I absolutely have to have on, because as Black women, we need to talk about the things we don't talk about, right? And interestingly enough, the agenda this year was Start Now. And a lot of us talked about being in places where we're not charging enough, right? We're shrinking ourselves. We're not talking about our accomplishments, right? Where we're saying, oh, that was old. I did that like 10 years ago. So why put that up, right? So we want to be in a space where we know and we claim our worth. And that's going to be the conversation. We're going to give you a little taste of the good from Back to Business this past weekend. And of course, you can get the replays at backtobusiness.me. So let's dig in, Quanisha. Before we give them the goods, tell them a little bit about you and what it is that you do.
Awesome. So as LaShonda said, I'm Quanisha. Thank you, LaShonda, again for having me on the Back to Business virtual conference platform and being here. But I'm known around the globe as the confidence strategist for Black women entrepreneurs, really helping Black women to elevate their confidence and grow their earning power. So that's what I do, help you feel more confident and make some money. So
That's the key. I love it. Feel more confident and make some money. Hold on. Where are my notes? You had so many amazing quotables as part of Back to Business. And what was say it with your chest? Come on now. You got to drop that on
the So they say it with a check.
All right. So they ain't hear it because I was
heart there. Say it with your chest, so they say it with a check.
Come on. I love it. We had such a good time, y'all. Feel free to tag some business besties, share this out, tweet it. That's what it's all about. So confidence, making that money, growing, building your confidence. Tell us why knowing and claiming your worth, especially for Black business owners, Black business women, why is this something that's near and dear to your heart specifically?
Yeah, well, it's near and dear. My background is I have a master's in social work. You can say I'm a scholar, essentially. It's been my life as a scholar. So I love research. And that's what brought me to starting Black Women CEO. Is because I want Black women to rise, whether it's in our careers or even in business. Unfortunately, as a collective, even though we're highly educated, we're not doing well, right? And particularly in entrepreneurship, you'll hear them blast that statistic that, oh, Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs. And we're all like, yay, Black women, which is great. But on average gross revenues, when you start to look at the numbers, LaShonda, it's kind of really dire, right? Whether you rank it by gender, whether you rank it by race, Black women-owned businesses only generate $24,000 a year. Wow. That's according to the last report that was commissioned by American Express called The State of Women-Owned Business. And so we're at the bottom tier. And we've been that way for the last almost a decade. Right, of research, and actually went down. Now, it's not like we're doing something wrong. There's a lot of issues why, like macro issues like bias, wage inequality. You may have heard that statistic that we lose right now. The statistics that we lose close to $1 million in our lifetime. So then, do we have the capital, right, to invest in our business? But I like to focus on kind of what we have control over and how we can be a proactive contributor to our success, because it's micro issues that we have that is around our sense of self and confidence and even just our general skill set that can get in the way of us increasing that. And just to give people some context, like Latina women-owned businesses are right above us, but they're averaging double ours. Their average gross revenue is $56,000 a year. So for us to have like that economic empowerment that we want, that one impacts the world, because we're world changers, but that also impacts our livelihood, our communities, and our families, then we have to start to really address and claim our expertise and step into this next level. For me, it's CEO, right? Of learning how to run your business, but feel confident enough doing it and asking top dollar for your expertise. So I love Black women. I want us to succeed. So I think we got to know what's going on so that we can know how to get to where we want to go.
Now, we feel the numbers, but to know the numbers, that's a whole other story, right? Being in that place where you're like, whoa, that really hits. That
Yeah.
really hurts, right? So, we, as part of Back to Business, our agenda this year is Start Now. We touched on a lot of amazing things. And what we're going to do is to touch on 3 key points that Quanisha shared as part of Back to Business. The replays, by the way, you can find at backtobusiness.me. So let's dig in. What's one of the first things that we need to talk about and consider?
Yeah. So the first thing is kind of what I just said, is like, you got to know the situation, right? Know what's going on and know that, that you have control, right? Like I said, I think we think of social justice, and my background's in social justice. It's important, right? And we think about these really large macro issues, and they need to be changed, right? But that stuff can take years and decades, right, to see shifts. But knowing that there are micro biases, right, that we need to work on. So one thing I talked about was our mindset, right? And not the general like woo woo affirmations, but actually catching the actual thoughts that you are thinking that are getting in the way. So one prompt that I gave was, when you think about increasing your prices, claiming your expertise, getting out there and even just sharing what you do and asking to get paid for it, what comes to mind? Right? What comes to mind? Because once we can catch that thought. So for me, when I talked about my Start Now story, it was, I thought nobody cared what I had to say. Right, that nobody cares. So I had to catch that thought. And then the next part of that, though, is that once you catch it, you got to disprove it, right? So that whole idea that nobody cared what I had to say, I had to debunk that with real evidence from my life that, like, wait, I was on the news and on NPR, like people were paying me to do keynotes. So we have to, know that it's in our control, but then know particularly like what's coming up with that's within our control, which is our thoughts, and start disproving these thoughts that we have about ourselves as to why we can't get out there or make money doing what we do, or make good money doing what we do. So that was the first thing, like know what's going on in general, but know that you have control, and then how to start catching these thoughts so that you create a new reality.
I love that, because one of the sessions I talked about how to get unstuck, and very similar. I believe that when it comes to feeling stuck, a lot of y'all will say, girl, I need help. I'm stuck. I'm not moving forward. Tackle the resistance, because some of that is internal. So that micro, I totally agree. And when it comes to tackling the resistance, I believe in knowing your triggers, because when you know your triggers, you can identify them and say, no, Lord, not today, devil.
Not today.
I don't got time for these feelings, right? I don't got time for these funky feelings. I know with my startup story, I would say, they're not going to pay me that. They can't afford that. Why would they pay that? And I realized that that was very much internal, because I started off on a floss string budget. Shoestring was too thick, right? It was paper thin floss string, right? But I've got people in my circle who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are celebrities, who are millionaires, in a position to pay me, but I wasn't in that mindset, because I was telling myself they can't afford it. We can't afford it. And not everybody is in your circumstance, number one. Number two, I found that I have folks on welfare willing to pay me what they needed to pay me to get the thing done. But my mindset was so blocked that nobody could pay me, because I was limited at the time when I started. It took a while to get out of that. So I very much agree. Cynthia says, yes, with extra S's, tackle the
resistance. Yeah, some people don't like that term, limiting beliefs, but it's exactly what you said. And it's a very neutral term. It doesn't have to be woo-woo or negative, but there are actual thoughts that are keeping you from stepping into a new aspect of yourself. And I always say, I think your higher self is already in you. We just got to get rid of the stuff that's keeping her from like showing up fully, right? It's not something you got to go find, like, oh, go find her. Like, she's there. Right, she's there already. Like, let's just get the stuff out of the way. And so when you start, and this is psychology, y'all, like, I'm like, this is a proven method. Like, go cognitive behavioral therapy, like think about your thoughts because it's impacting your behavior if you want to see the shifts in your behavior. And so we all are thinking things, someone could have told you something you were 5 that like, oh, you should be seen and not heard. And now you're like, oh, I'm not going to go on live stream. Like those, like things like
Your
that.
inner child.
Right.
Your inner
Culture,
child.
how it was in our family, your own lived experiences. Girl, I can go on with examples from like clients. Like their professor told them something. So they want to go write an article for LinkedIn, even though they wrote books before. Like those little thoughts and experiences and the beliefs that we created, very valid, right? Like you said, triggers. But when we want to start really knowing and claiming our worth to step powerfully into our businesses, we have to start like figuring out what those things are and start attacking them so that, we can go and fulfill our purpose, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's keep on keeping on. Let's go into number 2 when it comes to knowing and claiming your worth.
Yeah. So number 2 is that you have to really prove it to yourself that you are an expert. Right. So this kind of goes further into the whole like countering your limiting belief narrative, but even more specifically. So in the training, I shared 7 ways to claim your expertise. I won't share all 7, but I'll share like 3 of the 7. So if you want the whole 7, you got to go sign up and back to business. But so oftentimes we need evidence once again that we are an expert, right? And that we deserve to get paid top dollar. And so I often found that women were like, well, how do I do that? What evidence? And so I gave some prompts. I'm like, here are some things that you can start to like put together for yourself. And then ultimately you can communicate to people, right, about your value, about your expertise, and put it to yourself once again, why you should get paid well. So one of the ways to claim your expertise is to start listing your credentials. I call this running the numbers, like run the numbers for yourself, right? So like, where have you gotten your degrees? Where have you gotten your certifications? Like I had a client one time, LaShonda, who wanted to do healthy eating. And she was a nurse for like years. And I was like, okay. And she was like, well, I have a certificate from Cornell. I'm like, hold up. You have a certificate in like green healthy eating from Cornell, and you are questioning like, will people pay you, or that you should be talking about what you know? I'm like, it's Cornell. Like, why are we having this discussion, right? So your certifications and that actually your credentials in general, but that takes me to number 2, the positioning, like outlining the caliber of even those credentials, right? So it's not like, oh, I worked for corporates. Like, no, you worked for a global organization that's in like 5 countries and you ran the department. Like, let's talk about it, right? And then experience, like the number of hours, study, years of work, amount of clients. Like I can say a Black woman CEO, we've had 400 customers and clients. Over the last 5 years, about 75 of them have been high level clients, like people who have paid like multiple 4-figure investments to work with us, right? Black women CEOs, 5 years old, like, those things, it may seem insignificant to us, but they mean things to people, right? It positions you in a different way. So like I said, those are just 7, like your credentials, the positioning, right? Outlining the caliber of those credentials, and then start quantifying your experience, because you'll sit down, you'll be like, oh shoot, I have 25 years doing this. Right? Because think about it. You've been on that job, showing up every week for 40 hours, helping people to do X, Y, Z. And now you're looking to like translate that experience, right? And do it on your own. So, run your numbers, y'all, and start once again proving it to yourself that you are indeed an expert at what you do.
Absolutely. That is such a key point because you're in my light. My mini me is here to clean up my desk, and he's in my ring light. I'm like, excuse me, sir. You're in my light. You're in my light. That is such a crucial point. I remember when I met my hubby, and he says, "Why do I tell more people that you are a Columbia University Ivy League girl? How come I have to hype you up? How come you don't tell folks about that?" I'm like, folks don't need to know that. Yes, they do. They need to know you went to a specialized high school. They need to know that you actually, funny enough, as you said, Cornell, I was like, I did go to Cornell. I was in Cornell. I had a program in there. I did work at IBM. You start to think about all of these things that you did, right? I remember going from the kid that was like, my dream job is working at IBM to I was actually working at IBM. I was doing the thing that I said I wanted to do. But all of those things we subconsciously at some point go, they don't want to hear about that. They don't care about that, right? Or that was so long ago. right? That's not the me now, because there's something called, I'm sure you already know, destination addiction. We're so
Mhm.
addicted to where we want to be that we don't stick to our present. We don't like kind
Right.
of
Well,
about the
there, done
present,
that.
and then we downplay our past. So I
Mhm.
love that activity that you've given, because even me, I'm sitting here going, yeah, yeah. I did do those things.
And I
And
like
it,
this one because it's almost like a brag book. Like when you start
yes,
having like I said, it's all seven, but it's doing this so that we can communicate it to others, right? And position ourselves. But also, like once again, I share that activity for you. This is for you, even, right? To like
yes.
prove to yourself that you are an expert. Like you remind yourself, I'm like, yeah, I did work at IBM. That gets you excited. That builds your confidence. And then what ultimately happens, and you'll go out there and share it, or you'll go to that sales call being like, I know what I'm talking about, right? Like I worked out
Listen,
for 10
the
years.
downplay is real. Yvette
Yes.
says the downplay. It is. It definitely is. You got to break it all the way down. Hey, Angela Maria,
Love
we
that.
see you, girl. Thank you for being a break all the way down, right? It's important. And it's to help you, but also I believe it also creates deeper connections. I remember when we both have worked with, and we absolutely love our girl Kim Coles, woo woo
Yeah.
woo, right? And I'll never forget the first time we connected was on Facebook, and she said, Tech Night, I'm a Brooklyn Tech girl just like you. Who knew, right?
Right.
But had I not talked about the fact that I did go to Brooklyn Tech, specialized high school, I'm a techie girl, had I not shared those part of my credentials and my stories, people who connect with me as a mom, as a Brooklyn girl, as a techie girl, they wouldn't, right? So it's a part proving it to you, and then also making some deeper connections too. I feel like so much value in what you're saying, especially because for those people who go, oh, affirmations, mindset, you're giving very specific, as Jason said, break it down, giving very, very specific strategies of how to make this work, right? You got to tell them, say it with your chest so they can say it with a check. I like how you say it. You say
Yeah.
it.
Well, that was step number 3 I was going to share. Was like, once you claim this expertise, then you want to share it with conviction. Right. And so I don't know if you want me to share the whole formula, LaShonda, right? But I shared a formula for how you can actually share your expertise.
You know what
But
I would love that you share? When you talked about how when you describe yourself to people, sometimes we say it and it sounds
okay,
like a
I can
question,
do that.
right? Can
Yeah.
you share that? That'll be
Yes.
number
Okay.
3. We'll jump with
So
that on.
with that, so we were talking about how to communicate with conviction, and that's why I was like, you have to say it with your chest, so they say it with the check. And how I exactly said it was, you gotta say it with your chest, so they say it with the check. I'm from the Bronx, so it's say it with chest, right? And so often as women, and men don't do this as much, right? We often have this inflection at the end of thing, like I'm a confident strategist. And it's like, are you or are you not? Right? Like everything sounds like a question, right? And so I told people you want to like put some bass in your voice, but also imagine that you're saying, damn it, at the end of every word, like I'm a confident strategist, damn it, right? And it helps your tone go down. You're saying it more definitively, like I'm the confident strategist for Black women entrepreneurs. I help Black women who are like, and I showed a formula, so you'll get that when you enroll for Back to Business, right? And how you
Right.
can say it in a way that is with conviction, but it also attracts your ideal client because you're talking like specifically to them, right? But when you say things with certainty, people are drawn to confidence, right? They buy from people they like, know, and trust. So even it's like a handshake online, like that initial handshake, you want it to be firm, right? It's like your voice and how you communicate what you do. You also want it to be firm. So that confidence will come internally from, like we said, running your numbers, having that social proof, but then how it actually sounds coming out of your mouth also matters. And so if you want that check, you have to learn how to talk with conviction about what you do, who you serve, and the results that you can get for them. So
Absolutely. Say it with confidence. Drop the mic, right? Say it with confidence and conviction. Quanisha, this is her specialty. This is her wheelhouse right here. And she's created a formula for you all to use. Plus, she gave away supplementary educational tools that you guys could utilize as well. When I say my girl, she drops some serious good, for real. For
I
real.
always
And
get a little free power pack for back to business folks.
it's important. I think you also dropped some good on pricing on them. I mean, here's the thing.
Guidelines, because we often have this question on like, well, how much, people say charge what you worth, and you're like, well, what am I worth? Right? Or what is that type of service worth? So, I have a course called Design Your Premium Offer. So it's like how to create a high level offer. And then I offer pricing guidelines. So this is the first time I shared it for free. And probably the only time I share for free was for the back to business participants. So you get that pricing guideline. You even get my slides. Because Lashonda, you probably were like me when you're like, dang, can I have them slides? Because you had like on the slides. I give you the copy of my slides. You're going to get my profit roadmap, which is 5 steps for building a revenue generating business. And then of course, like I give you the invitation to, join the Black Women CEO community and all these other stuff. But yeah, I got you some good goods, right? For actually, because I like to reward people when they invest in themselves, right? And so, I just want to reward your community for making that decision, because whether you pay $25 or $97, whatever it is, like you said, sometimes you're on that flush-string budget, and that $25 could be like, yo, I'm making this investment. Like, this is the room that I got. So, I want people to know what to do and, feel valued at the same time.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely. Being in a space where people genuinely want you to have every single thing that you need. I'm going to make sure that we drop the link in there for Back to Business, number one. But number two, as you were talking, there's always so much amazing synergy energy, right? Monica says, truth. Hey, Monica, welcome. As you were talking, I want you guys to remember it's so important to have that confidence and conviction when you speak. I always like to say that people have to buy what you say before they buy what you sell. And if you don't believe it, baby, they ain't going to believe it, and they ain't going to buy it. They ain't gonna buy it, right? So you got to say it with the chest. So Quanisha, the next Black Woman CEO branded needs to be a t-shirt. This is say it with your chest so they can say it with a check.
I'm receive that. I like that. See, this is what I love LaShawn. LaShawn is like, look, we got your product line right here. Get the mug, get the shirt. Low P.
Where's the mug? I thought you had it for a second. All right. Yep. Come on now. You got to have your branding together, right? You got to have your brand. See, I don't even have my stuff in front. No, I do. I got something. I got one of my books. So you always got to have something somewhere, right? So I got my band on my TV, and then I got my notebook behind it, right?
There's another one.
She believes she could, and so she did. My notebook. Come on, see. I did a session on how to monetize and organize your content as part of Back to Business, because now is the time to start to grow and do what you need to do. The stuff that y'all been putting off and overthinking, got to go do that. So we made sure, hey, Cassandra, working on building your confidence. Yes, your confidence and your conviction. That is what it's all about. Make sure that you grab the replays and all the good as part of Back to Business. Quanisha, you always have so many wonderful things going on. I want to make sure that you share with them what you're doing right now. You share the Black Women CEO community. So the podcast, Black Women CEO podcast just reached how many? 35,000?
35,000 plus downloads and listens.
Woo!
So BlackWomenCEOpodcast.com. One, that will take you right to our website, but also take you directly to our podcast episode. So that's exciting. And we have a 3-day live event coming up in December. So definitely, go to BlackWomenCEO.com. You can, join the community through there, or send me a message, y'all. Y'all can just message me. And I'm happy to share these links directly. But yeah, we have a lot of cool things going on over the next month. I'm excited to share. So that we can help you increase in your profits, power, and purpose.
It's so important for you to, number one, be a part of communities that are about your elevation, right? I've got the Sister Sense Power Circle. Quanisha has the Black Woman CEO. Epic April, she's got her tribe.
Yeah.
Pam Perry, she's got her tribe. We all have our tribes. That doesn't mean that we can't all come together. And
Mhm.
there's so much importance in having your own lanes, but then having opportunities for us to come together and overlap in our communities too. It's important for me to
I
not
invested
only
in
feel what I'm
other
doing.
speakers. I was like, oh wait, what you got coming up? I need that. Like, like what the people just named. I'm like, I just invested in their program.
Right.
Community is a protective factor for Black women. That's the research, and so we can flourish in communities, particularly when it's communities who are talking to our unique walk and experiences. So being in communities
Absolutely.
like this, the speakers and experts. I've been coming to the Lashonda's events for like 10 years, right? And that's how I learn about other Black women experts that also maybe can help me go more in depth in a certain subject matter area. So investing in yourself, this is like your first entry even to like the multiverse of Black women experts out there that can help you grow your business. So I love it because I also get to honor my value of wanting to invest in other Black women owned businesses. At the same time, I'm investing in myself. So I love it.
It's so crucial. I was talking about how this year, not only did I host my own events, Back to Business, Maintain Your Momentum, the Spring into Action, I was a part of Kim Cole's Captivating Conversations. Lisa Del Marco, I think we both were a part of that, from Frazzled to Finished, right? April, Epicon. It's so important for you to create your own branded experiences. By the way, that was the training I did yesterday. So go back and watch that live on how to start to host your own virtual events, 7-point plan, and then also be a part of other people's communities, because that's how we share, that's how we learn, that's how we grow. So I want to say I thank you so much, Quanisha, for jumping on here and sharing some of the good from your session on how to start knowing and claiming your worth. Ladies and gents, make sure that you stay connected to Quanisha. She always going to be a part of the power circle, so you're going to see her like over and over again, because her goodness is just too good not to share. Okay.
I received that. Thank you.
Receive it, bring it in, right? So just think about that. Really, today is a day to give yourself a gut check. Where do you find you are not doing what you need to do to know and claim your worth? Where do you find you need to start now so that you can grow and move forward? That's it for today, y'all. Don't forget, turn on alerts and notifications so you can see when I'm live, so you can jump on here live with me and all the fabulous ladies and gents in my community. Don't forget, backtobusiness.me. I'm telling you, it was the place to be last weekend. If you missed it, grab your replays before they go up and then go away. All right, y'all. Till tomorrow, take care. Mwah. Bye.